So yes, perhaps I was too harsh on white people and women. When I said that white people aren't really my brothers in a different video, not part of this series, I was trying to get it through their heads that this indifference creates misery, and I was very angry. And I watched clips about KKK people and that scientific, you know, when the KKK guy said, we're going to be scientific about this, and he's plotting with the sheriffs and other people who had strategic positions in society, in their small town at least. It really was fucking with my head, you know. But even in that movie, there was a good sheriff who they killed for big N-word lover. So yes, it's very disturbing what's going on here. I knew I was going to regret making the oath when I did, and there are a lot of beautiful women out there. And the female I've been talking to from far away, basically, she didn't appreciate it very much. So I messaged her, I emailed her, and we exchanged some emails. I guess we had a misunderstanding or whatever. Make a long story short, yes, I'm miserable now, you know, as much as ever, but it had to be said. As far as women, you know, women are different, you understand me? Oh, before I forget. Water supply. Drugs and water supply. So I'm just gonna type that in on YouTube. First thing I get is Alex Jones. That's bullshit. I wanted the one about the New York water supply. We need put drugs in New York water supply. Well, when I typed it in my phone, everything I was looking for came up. This is a lot of Alex Jones stuff that nobody is gonna take seriously. Bullshit. Okay. This is what I'm talking about, when they make it hard for you to find what you need to find. As much as Alex Jones is interesting, you know, to pretend like drugs in our water supply are a conspiracy theory, you know, it's fucking bullshit. I think this is the one right here. Yes, this is the one right here.
Well, do you know what's in your drinking water? A shocking Associated Press investigation found various pharmaceuticals in the drinking supplies of at least 41 million Americans. Tainted water was found from New Jersey to California. NBC's Tom Costello is following the story from Washington. Tom, I've been dying to ask somebody some questions about this story. First of all, what kinds of drugs are we talking about, and how dangerous is this?
Pretty wide range. Here's the drinking water in Washington, D.C. They found 6 pharmaceuticals in our drinking water here. They include ibuprofen, caffeine, monosin, and about 3 or 4 others. In Philadelphia, they had 56 pharmaceuticals or byproducts. They range everything from epilepsy medication to mental health medicines to pharmaceuticals that really run the gamut. Here's the bottom line from the Associated Press on the study they did. It was, as you mentioned, a 5-month investigation involving the AP investigative team. 50 major cities in 50 states were looked at, and drugs were found in the water of 24 major cities. We're talking 41 million Americans here who drink that water. So what's in the water? Everything from acetaminophen and ibuprofen to mood stabilizers, antibiotics, angina, heart, as well as cholesterol drugs, and even sex hormones. The trouble here, Meek, is that the federal government does not test specifically for pharmaceuticals in the water. And in fact, there is no way to scrub water that is in a treatment plant for pharmaceuticals. And so now we have a situation where states and cities across the country are just starting to realize that there are the remnants of pharmaceuticals in the drinking water. All of that said, we should emphasize, we're talking here about parts per billion or trillion, really minute traces of pharmaceuticals that are in the water. And you say, well, how did it get there? Well, without getting too graphic, all of us who take medication for one thing or another, we don't absorb all of it. It is excreted. It gets into the sewage system, into the water treatment plants. And then because water treatment plants can't scrub it all out, if any of it, it just kind of dilutes on into the water system. Sometimes it gets into the water table, into wildlife, and then into reservoirs. It goes back into the water treatment site, into the water treatment plants.
I wonder if there's going to be, long-term study about effects of this down the road. And, but I guess initially, Tom, the question I'm sure you're asking today is there anything the government can do about this?
Yeah, and the EPA says it's concerned about it. But, we don't yet know, and water treatment utility plants say they are convinced that there is no immediate threat to anybody out there. That said, I did a story about 4 years ago in which we found a river in Colorado, and now we know there are many rivers, in which the fish were turning from male to female. And the reason was because there was too much estrogen in the water. The natural female hormone was literally turning male fish into female fish, and the thinking was that this is a canary in a coal mine. So now the question is, what's the impact on humans?
Yeah, that's the next one.
All right, so yes, there is a new order agenda. They're trying to make us dumb and fat and more dependent on them, more under control. Pharmaceutical companies know that the more people they give drugs, the more the water supply is polluted. They target certain individuals for an intensified version of mind control and eugenics tactics, eugenics procedures and drugging. But we're all affected by these things to a certain extent, and the more we act up, the more we're affected by it. Sort of like when a cop is directing traffic or something, or he's sitting there, policing the crowd, and you kind of act up, everyone's being policed, but then he targets you and comes and gets you and says, hey, silence it, or puts you in cuffs or whatever. So we're all under these things to a certain extent. So the people who play stupid, that's why I always say, playing stupid is more stupid than being stupid. Because you're being affected by the same things that they're doing to me. They're just increasing it on me for doing what you should be doing, which is the right thing. Last thing I want to touch about on this video is I don't have a problem with big women. I have a problem with what they're doing. In a way, they are allowing they're allowing their temple to fall in disarray, or disrepair, however you want to look at it. They are borderline gluttons in many cases, and fine, I understand what having a problem is. Certain sins that people don't repent for aren't as bad as others depending on the situation. For example, a poor person who's overweight because of the circumstances of society today is not as bad as a rich person overweight in a society where everyone's starving and he's kind of like a tyrant, just going, oh, just do this, and and so on. With that being said, I wanted to cover these things for this Psychiatry is a Fraud series. Everything I talk about in these series connects to psychiatry. Psychiatry is a very dramatic form of enforcing the New World Order. It is the most in-your-face proof of New World Order policies, and people just do not grasp that. Thank you.